We're pretty hard people to surprise here at DirtTrax. Most of the time we're anticipating or speculating about things before they happen. Not because we're psychics or anything weird like that, we just really understand this industry and how it works. And we did anticipate the Wildcat X. When the first Wildcat was released, it was underpowered. And traditionally speaking, Arctic Cat has never been afraid to throw more power at anything they build to make it more competitive. So when the X was released with 95 ponies, we weren't surprised one bit. But when we finally got a ride in it, it was nothing short of a surprising experience. Why? I'm sure that's the question you're asking. Why would simply throwing more horsepower at the Wildcat surprise us so much? Well, for starters, 95 horsepower is a 23% increase. 23%. That's not incremental, that's not decent, that's amazing. The second reason we've been surprised by this new Wildcat X is that 95 horsepower feels really impressive. Not just better, it's way better. And it should be. The Wildcat X is the second most powerful ATV or side-by-side that's ever been mass-produced, second only to Can-Am's 1000 Maverick. And while the Wildcat is down 6 horsepower on the Maverick, it's what's underneath the plastic that really makes it stand out. We picked the Wildcat X as our favorite pure sport side-by-side in 2013 for a reason. It has the best mix of real-world features and traits an aggressive rider would want. It definitely lacks in some areas, but it has everything that's truly important, and that's what counts. 18 inches of front and rear wheel travel is nothing to scoff at. And while this setup may not be some fancy, new, out-of-the-box thinking rear suspension design that's got an arms-long list of additional features and benefits, it is a standard 5-link setup that's been proven time and time again on racetracks and long-distance race courses all over the world. And to be honest, I don't really care how the suspension on my side-by-side works, as long as it works well. A 5-link is pretty sophisticated and it works, enough said. The double A-arms on the front of the Wildcat aren't really that impressive either, but land this sucker nose down 20 or 30 times like I did, and you won't care if there's a set of McPherson struts hiding underneath there. The Wildcat soaks up the worst of your bad decisions without abusing you for it. Power steering is an absolute necessity on today's ultra-long travel and ultra-wide pure sport rigs. Those wheels are simply too far out there and are moving way too much to go without some form of assist. Arctic didn't ever mess around in this area either. The Wildcat has always come spec'd with power steering. Now, it may not be some fancy power steering setup, and it does lack just a little bit of assist at slower speeds, but it does a great job of filtering out all the negative feedback coming from the wheels into your hands. Of course, all is not perfect. With us, it never is. We have impossible expectations and won't stop complaining until somebody gets it exactly right. With the Wildcat, we complain about 2 things in particular. First, its turning radius. When I was a kid, the school bus used to have to turn around at the end of my driveway, and I'm pretty sure that 47-passenger school bus had a smaller turning radius and required less room to make a U-turn than the Wildcat does. Its turning radius is big, like big, but it's not at all an issue on faster trails or fire roads. It is an issue when the going gets even remotely tight. Many will blame the long wheelbase, but there are even longer side-by-sides out there that turn sharper, so we know this can be improved. The only other complaint I have is with the overall finish quality of the Wildcat. Its interior looks more like a race vehicle that's already been stripped of all of its extras than it does a high-end pure sport side-by-side. Its competition is stepping up big time, proving you can have all the performance and still keep the amenities and beautiful finish quality. If they can do it, we know Arctic can too. If there's one thing we don't want Arctic to change, like ever, it's the seats. Man, I love these seats. They're the perfect shape, they're mounted super low in the chassis, they're reclined at the perfect angle. I love everything about the driver ergonomics. At 70 miles per hour, you really shouldn't be looking down at the interior of your side-by-side, admiring all the fancy gadgets and trim lines you've got that others don't. You should be looking way down the trail at the rapidly approaching obstacles and corners. And when we drive the Wildcat X the way it was meant to be driven, all the things we don't like just seem to drift out of our minds, leaving us free to focus completely on how it performs. And we have absolutely no complaints about that. 23% increase in horsepower to a total of 95 have taken the Arctic Cat Wildcat from mild to truly wild. 18 inches of suspension travel, incredible ergonomics, and more than enough horsepower make the Wildcat X the sport side-by-side for the serious rider.